The nomadic cultures of Niger, the Wadabe and the Tuareg, live in one of the harshest environments on the planet. They are always on the move with their herds in search of pasture. The Wadabe are cattle herders. Their lives are filled with taking care of their herds, preparing food for dinner, Sometimes they must spend as much as 12 hours a day hauling water for their herds. But life is not all work. They have time to play and laugh and enjoy their families. After their families and their herds, the most important thing to the Wadabe is beauty. You can see this in every camp, where each Wadabe woman has set up an installation known as the saga. These largely useless installations are symbolic of being a Wadabe woman, and they are faithfully carried around on their donkeys no matter where they go. The Wadabe are best known for their annual beauty contest, in which the men compete and the women judge. Elaborate preparations go into these celebrations, in which the men help each other make up, because the perfect costume and makeup is essential. But equally important is what the Wadabe call togu. Although the official judges are looking for beauty, the rest of the very attentive female audience is equally interested in charm. At these Jerawal celebrations, it is the responsibility of the man to attract the woman of his dream. But it is she who makes the choice. Whether it be a temporary liaison or a more permanent marriage, she must consent to be stolen from the camp of her present husband to go on the back of a camel to her future marriage. The Tuareg are camel herders living in the vast Sahara Desert. Like their desert, their lives are austere. But their code of the desert demands a warm welcome to visitors. Their desert is filled with miracles. Hundreds, thousands, and even millions of years old. Many of these camel riders and ancient caravanners have turned in their camels for four-wheel drive vehicles. They use their desert survival skills to bring tourists into the most remote part of the planet. Many of these ancient warriors have turned in their lances for Kalashnikovs, but they use these to fight for the survival of their culture. Their great pride in their culture is visible today in their jewelry, their leatherwork, their clothing, and particularly in their festivals. The Nomad Foundation has been getting to know and working with these nomads for 15 years. We dig wells, create cereal and animal fodder banks, build and support schools, create women's cooperatives, and animal vaccination programs to improve herd health. But bouncing around trying to find nomads who are moving all the time is a challenging proposition. So we decided to centralize on the annual migration route of all nomads at the Tamasna Center for Nomadic Life. Here, we can provide the nomads with essential services in the heart of their own lands. On their annual passage, they can stop by, pitch a tent, and avail themselves of the services without having to go into a city or settle down. We started with a medical clinic. For the opening, we brought in a group of American volunteers and a local staff. We stocked the medicines and sent the word out for nomads to come. In the 10 days of the clinic, we treated 832 patients, many of whom had never seen a doctor. Consultations were in 5 languages. That first mission, our volunteers lived in tents and ate lunch under a tree. On our second mission, the construction for a visitor's quarters was partially completed, and we brought new diagnostic equipment to improve the health care of the nomads. Sustainability is our long-term goal. We seek to put the tools in the hands of the nomads themselves to provide their own services. To achieve this, we built the Tamasna Education Center. Here, the visiting experts and volunteers who bring to the nomads the skills they so desperately need can now be housed in relative comfort and dine on the roof terrace with the vast desert spread out at their feet. From our experience at the medical clinic, we came to understand that the most at-risk population are pregnant women. And so we conceived a midwife training program under the direction of Dr. Robert Skanke, a retired Ojai obstetrician. We have trained and equipped 5 remarkable women. The present reality for women in Niger is that 1 in 7 will die in childbirth. But since the beginning of our program, our midwives have assisted at over 70 deliveries without one maternal mortality. Water is life, the Tuaregs say. It is the essential element that makes life possible in the desert. Our hand-dug wells provide water where there was none, but a herder must work as much as 12 hours a day to water his animals. The wells are open and impossible to prevent contamination, which leads to many waterborne diseases. Drilling a well is the solution to keep a closed and clean system, but there are no well drilling companies in northern Niger, and the cost is prohibitive to bring them from the south. How can nomads increase their own access to clean water? A drilled well must also have a source of power: electricity, which does not exist in the bush, diesel pumps, which are polluting and expensive to operate. We installed a solar system imported from Europe at the Tamasna Center, but the cost was far beyond the capability of nomads who want this kind of system. And then we found Dr. Richard Kamp, a veteran crusader in solar energy who trains impoverished populations around the world how to fabricate their own panels, and Nomad Energy was born. In the first 2-week session, the nomads learned how to solder, test, and assemble solar panels. It was so hot in tropical Niamey, Niger, that while Mom was soldering, Baby was playing in a bucket. By the end of the first session, the nomads had made panels for solar cell phone charging, electricity, solar water pumping, and battery charging. In the second training session, they installed a solar water pumping system. These panels now provide water in a demonstration garden where we will be able to show potential buyers how the systems function. In the third solar training session, the students built solar ovens and installed electricity at the Tamasna Education Center. The nomads are now capable of furnishing their country with solar panels made in Niger. These panels will charge cell phones, create small businesses, pump water, light schools, and allow the nomads to step into a modern economy. The source of power is just the first step toward clean water for the nomads. The next step is to purchase a well drilling rig and, in partnership with Life Water International, train a group of nomads how to drill their own wells. With the creation of Nomad Water and Energy based at Tamasna Center, the nomads will not only be able to bring clean water at a lower cost to their region, but with the profits they will be able to fund other essential services for their people at Tamasna Center. After several years of successful adult education programs, it's time to bring education to the children at Tamasna. In the fall of 2012, we will open a day school for 48 children who have never had the opportunity to go to school. This school will evolve into a boarding school to accommodate the children whose parents must leave each year in search of pasture for their herds. Each child will be responsible for an animal in the school herd and for tending the school garden. In this way, they can help feed themselves, support the school, and learn new techniques of herd and agricultural management. As these techniques succeed, they will be adapted by their parents to ensure a more prosperous future for the entire nomadic population. It has never been easy to work in this harsh desert country, but the last 5 years have seen catastrophic droughts, famines, floods, plagues of locusts, made worse by armed insurgencies, coup d'etat, military states of emergency, indiscriminate uranium mining, and incursions of terrorists to take hostages. What more could go wrong? Most foreign companies and NGOs left the country, but we didn't. Forced to travel with armed security, our brave volunteers continue to show up to give a sign of hope to the embattled population. Now the tide has turned toward peace and stability. Everything we do is focused on bringing skills to adapt and prosper in the changing world, because we never know when the tide might turn again and prevent us from returning to continue our fight alongside the nomads for the survival of one of the oldest cultures on the planet. But if we cannot return, the knowledge we have brought will remain.
ملت تجروتي غف تكون ريت ملت تجروتي غف تكون كم الساعة أكون انت نيري وري جرو تكون شمارا يا تغنيس شماري فارق شمارا يا تغنيس شماري فارق تفون كضغط نسانا كان بتروح سنغديها لنا ما نطغوق سنغديها لنا ما نطغوق خمس ساعات كل تنري وري جرو تكون شمارا يا مدنس شماري فارق تفوق شمارا يا مدنس شماري فارق تفوق سمدوا مزواء وندار جغامي ديني يتجنتم فوسني تجوازتيني تجنتم فوسني